Hi, everybody. Welcome to Half and Half this morning. It's November 12th, and it is the day before my 50th birthday. So it's my last climb up the hill. I'm reaching the peak, and then we start going down. Um, so yeah, very excited though that I can still do so much movement. It's so nice to feel like my body's pretty movable, a little stiffer, little needs a little more attention than I used to be able to get away with, but overall it's working pretty well. That's enough about me. How about we do a little movement? We're going to start in just a little different order today with the routine we've been doing. I want to start with some rounding of the spine and start kind of warming up the spine. And then we'll get to the 100. We'll still maybe get everything in. But we're going to start with the one-legged roll-up movement. So I've got my right knee bent and hands on my leg, and then just kind of taking the round spine back so the head and the tail open up. And then let's take a sitting up tall. So it's kind of like you're doing cat cow that you do on your hands and knees, that we often do on our hands and knees, but you're sitting. So you round the spine, curl it under, open the back, and then a little taller up. And then exhale, soften the chest, draw the belly in, round the spine, and then start to feel how your hands have to pull a little on your leg. And then lengthen up. We're going to do it one more time. Exhale, belly in, round the spine. Feel the hands hold the leg. This time we're going to let the leg come up and start to rock back. How about halfway down? And then pressing up. And again, rounding the spine, halfway down. Leg keeps a little bit of pushing forward into the hands. Arms are really working to hold their shape. And let's take one more of these. I'm working down so that I feel all the half the rib cage down. So I go rib 12, 11, 10, 9, 8, 7, but not the upper half. And then roll back up. And then stretch your right leg out and bend your left knee. We're going to do the same cat cow. So sitting up tall, drawing your belly in from head to tail rounding. And then inhale, rolling back up, sitting up tall. And exhale, soften the chest, draw the ribs in, draw the belly in, and sitting up tall. And this time, notice how the arms can come on a little more as you roll back. You start to feel a little resistance. The arms work, they kind of pull on the leg, and back up to sitting. And we're going to take it into the roll this time. Rounding the spine, find the catch with your legs, the kind of lock with your leg and your arms, and then rolling back to the back of the pelvis and the lower back, and then pressing up and rolling back, maybe a little farther this time, using it kind of like a massage on your back, getting it to open up a little more. And one more time, seeing if you can get through the lower ribs onto the mat. And then coming up. All right, both knees bent, feet about hip distance apart, hands on your legs and round back and sit up. And exhale, round back. As you round back, think of the space in this part of the hip here. And then that space, that angle closes up. So my pelvic bone and my thigh bone separate. And then they get a little closer together. One more time. Rounding back, find a little resistance from your arms. And then one hand at a time, we're going to walk back till your lower ribs are on the mat, but not your upper ribs. Arms are going to reach forward. We're going to leave your legs in place and do the 100. Inhale. And exhale. Now with the legs down, still have a little bit of energy, but think of the energy being in the heels on the floor. Trying to keep this space in the hips. Inhale, exhale. And the energy in the heels can press a little bit down and a little bit forward. Inhale and exhale. Breathing in, exhale. Really opening the back with the inhale. 2 more. And rolling down, reach your arms up and back overhead. Let your head release, your neck lengthen. Let your armpits lengthen as you reach overhead. Now, really keeping the heels a little bit down and forward as the arms reach forward and up, or up and forward. Rolling up, you can use your hands on your legs if you want, all the way through the spine and the roll up. And then working one vertebra at a time, either halfway down or all the way down, using your hands or just reaching them forward. Finding breath, finding articulation through the spine, all the joints getting some movement, using your abdominals to roll through it. And one more roll up and down. And as you come down, let your legs reach forward and lengthen. Again, nice space in the front of the hips. Now, find a little connection through your abdominals, little tone in the belly, like you would in knee folds. And then bring your right knee in, knee over hip. We're going to do kind of a different knee fold, unfold. We're going to float your leg up and down. Inhale up, exhale down without your hands. So hands are by your side, just using your belly to support your leg as the knee unfolds towards the ceiling and then folds back in again. One more time, floating the leg up. You're already supported by your center as you reach across. Inhale, exhale, leg circle around and up. Two more, really controlling from your lower abdominals. Are you a little more aware of your spine? Notice if your lower back starts to grab. Let's take the reverse. Can you use your abdominals more, your lower back less, your upper back less, ribs connecting more? Two more. Bend your knee, take your leg down, take a moment, let everything relax. And then organize again. Legs forward, knees towards the ceiling, toes towards the ceiling. Now find your abdominal tone. Arms stay by your side as you float your left knee in over your hip, belly holding your leg in place as you extend your leg towards the ceiling and then bend your knee back down. So thigh bone perpendicular to the floor and doesn't move. Shin bone goes up and down. Thigh bone stays in place. Leaving the leg extended, we're ready for leg circles. Inhale across, exhale around and up, really supporting from your abdominals. Notice if your lower back starts to grab at some point in the circle. Less lower back, more belly. and reverse. Inhale, exhale. Smaller circle works deeper in the abdominals. Allows you to really feel if the lower back is sneaking on. And really try to isolate a little more in the abdominals. One more. And then bending your knee, hold on to your leg. We're going to use it to roll up to sitting. All right, now hopefully the spine's pretty warmed up for rolling like a ball. Both knees bent. However much your knees bend. My knees do bend kind of a lot, but yours could be a little more open. And then that same cat position, round spine position like we were practicing earlier. Now, in this position here, I have a nice connection with my hands to my knees. If I want to take my hands lower, it's because I round my spine more, not shift all my weight forward, right? Leave my pelvis way back and I round my spine more. Head reaching between the knees, belly pulling back in opposition. And then we're ready to go. I'm going to go right into rolling like a ball today. You could do rocking chair, or you could join me for 8 rolling like a balls. Inhale, rolling back. Exhale, coming up. Just like we started. Just add a little momentum to it. Feeling each vertebra touch the mat. 2 more. And then finishing. All right. So, I didn't mention that I have a strap, but it was on the banner before we started. So if you have your strap all ready to go, we're going to use it for spine stretch. If you don't have your strap, you can do it without a strap. Taking the arms out about shoulder distance apart. Give a little tug to activate your upper back muscles. Feel everything drawing together in the front, everything lifting through the belly. Less in the thighs, less in the hips. Heels, a little bit down energy, a little bit forward energy as you go into spine stretch. Rolling back up to sitting. And feeling all the vertebra in your spine have a little bit of movement. Imagery is super powerful. So even if you just imagine for a moment all those bones, you put your awareness there as you move. That's really great for creating a little more articulation. One more time. Good. Now we're going to keep the strap. As you're pulling on the strap, do a little rotation so your hands are centered, or your foot is in the center in between your 2 hands, and then back to center. And then feeling your abdominals, little rotation so the opposite foot is between your 2 hands, right? No farther, just that far, back to center. And little float rotation. Keep pulling on the strap, sitting tall. Relax your thighs. Back to center. And little rotation. All right, this is how we're going to take our saw today. So a little rotation, keep pulling the strap, and then just a spine stretch in that rotated position. That's basically what saw is. Coming up, your foot's still centered between your 2 hands, and back to center. And then rotate. See your foot between your 2 hands. As you roll forward, keep all that same orientation. Unroll, and back to center. Opposite hip stays down. So I'm twisting to the right. I'm feeling my left hip have to stay in place. My sits bone has to work a little bit to stay down. Now I'm going to twist to the left. It's my right sits bone that has to stay down. One more each side. Last one. Oh my goodness, that was a lot of things. All right, so we'll take the strap away. We're going to set up on your belly for a little bit of swan. Now, last week we did a little different swan, and let's go back to that again. So, hands out a little in front of you on hands and knees. We're going to take that cat feeling again. So, pressing the hands down, rounding the spine, and then let your pelvis come forward. And as your pelvis comes forward, you just naturally unroll your spine all the way through till the head and the chest opens. And then reverse that all the way back up. Push down through your hands as you find the cat again. And then just release it to neutral. So my hands are a good deal in front of my shoulders here. My hips are over my knees. And then my arms are a little forward. Take that same thing. Round the spine. Feel the arms really reach. Maybe you've seen a cat do this. They really stretch those paws out. And then roll forward. Front of the pelvis opens. All the way through the spine. Front of the hips get to open. All the way to look up. Rounding again. Press the hands. Open the back. Hips go back over the knees. Back to neutral. One more time. Exhale, cat position. And forward. And open. And rounding back up into cat. And all the way into child's pose. And coming up. All right, so we should be really ready for our bridge now. So coming onto your back. Knees bent and feet flat. And then nice juicy articulation with the spine. And we've been really kind of working that movement. So let's break it down a little bit for bridge. Find your feet, press them into the mat, and let your pelvis curl, but just your pelvis, right? Leave the lower back in the mat, leave the ribs in the mat, feel a little bit of weight there, and then let your pelvis drop back until you really feel the bottom of your pelvis down. Your sits bones feel like they're moving towards your heels. And then again, just a pelvic curl without too much effort. Just press your feet, your pelvis tips, and then release your feet. And then letting the pelvis curl again. All right, so once you get the pelvic tilt this time, we're going to keep going through your lower back, but leave your ribs down. So can you feel your pelvis off the floor, your lower back off the floor, but your 12 ribs all down? And then rolling through your lower back, and then rolling through your pelvis. And feel that distinction. Same thing again, the feet press, pelvic tilts, then the lower back. Relax your chest, keep the lower part of the ribs down. And then coming back down through the lower back and through the pelvis. All right, you know what's coming. Press the feet, tilt the pelvis. Press the feet a little more, let the lower back roll. Now don't lift your chest. Press your feet and lift your pelvis. As your pelvis goes up more and your lower back goes up more, allow your ribs to be pulled off. You don't need to lift your chest at all. Your chest can stay heavy the whole time. It's the pelvis that reaches up. Then find the ribs back on the floor. Last rib without the lower back down. Then the lower back. Then the pelvis. And pressing feet and articulating up. One more time. Ribs are just a napkin on the floor. And then your pelvis is the hand that starts to pick up the corner of that napkin. That napkin doesn't lift itself, right? The pelvis is lifting the ribs. And the ribs are just soft and fluid and hanging off the pelvis. Rolling back down. All right. Doesn't that feel great? Hopefully. I think it often does for people to get all that movement through their spine. It's just a simple way to get the hips to soften a little bit more by getting the back to move. All right, you ready for some side kicks? So, lying on your right side, feet a little bit forward on the mat, head can be down, or if your spine's feeling nice and juicy, maybe you practice taking the head up and the head in the hand. Soft chest, nice easy curve in the spine, right? Not gripping in your neck to do it. Top leg a little lifted. Hand can be down. A little more challenge to hold the hand behind the head. Now we go 8 times forward and back. Inhale, exhale, and forward. Inhale, 2, and to exhale. And in this exercise, we want to keep the spine stable. We've been doing all this articulation and flow with the spine. Now we keep it in place, not letting the pelvis tuck, not letting the lower back round. No cat poses in the side kicks, just long spine. Two more. Legs come together. Turn your top leg out. Inhale, little reach up and flex back down. And point and lift and back down. Now, if you're up on your elbow, imagine as your leg lifts, your head kind of lengthens up, gets a little lighter off your elbow, right? Just a little more reach out as you lift your leg. It's like you kind of lengthen your spine up too. And flexing up and pointing down one more time. All right. And then coming up to sitting and onto your other side. Feet a little forward, spine lined up against the back edge of the mat. Maybe you keep your head down on your arm, or with the same kind of softness and mobility you felt in the bridge, let the head float up, let the neck release, let the chest soften and turn. Take your head into your hand to give you a little support there. And then opposite hand can go on the floor or behind your head. Now, pelvis is neutral, just long feeling in the spine. Leave it there as you go forward and exhale back. It's very rare that Scott and I disallow cats to exist, but in this exercise, no cat spines. Don't tell the cats. And don't tell Scott either. He might have to leave me forever if I said no more cats. Inhale. I'm just kidding. He often reassures me that I am a little more important than the cats, but I always get a little worried the cats might be more important. One more. And legs together, rotating your top leg. And then point, reaching up and flexing down. Now, do you feel as you lift this top leg? I can feel it. My head just wants to jam into my hand and into my elbow. So I'm going to think of lengthening up and out of the elbow as I lift the leg. And then flexing up. And one more. And relaxing there. All right. We're going to come onto your back. And with knees bent, right ankle in front of your left knee, letting the knee open. I hope my sound is still working. It just kind of switched. We're going to take a little stretch, holding the leg. And then switching the opposite leg over. Knee opens. And then holding the back of the opposite leg here. So I have my left ankle in front of my right knee and I'm holding my right leg. All right, both knees into your chest. We're going to come up to sitting. You're going to grab your strap. I keep faking Scott out. He wants to come on, but I keep looking at my watch and I have 1 more minute left according to my watch. So we're going to come all the way up to standing. We're going to do just a little bit with the strap or your towel. Standing with the feet parallel and arms pointing straight down. And we do a little pull. Inhale and exhale and pull and reach. So we did all that work connecting through your center, supporting your spine, and then feeling that now as we do the strap work. 2 more. Last one, pull out and hold it. Bend your knees and up to shoulder height. And exhale, bend and reach up and exhale and reach, exhale and up and bend and inhale and reach. One more and up and stay and release the tension and up and exhale and pull and exhale and reach and release and inhale and release. Draw your belly in just like we did in the side kicks, just like we did in the leg circles. 2 more. Last one. Bend your knees, reach overhead. Inhale, lower, and reach, and lower, and up. Exhale. Bending your knees. Pelvis goes straight down as you bend your knees. 2 more. And last one. And exhale down. All right, now I'll pass it off.
Good morning, everybody. I just heard the sound that indicates the sound went off, so fingers crossed it didn't. Top of the morning, good morning, hey there, hi there. Let's continue the thread of using breath integrated with movement and doing so in the sumo. So feet a little bit apart, a little bit turned out. And then a little different this time. Rather than keeping torso vertical, as you bend your ankles and your knees, fold from your hips. And then come on up. Then the breathing for that is exhale, inhale. Now, as we do a few more of these sumos, let your tailbone relax. When stressed out, when scared, pretty much all animals tuck their tails, including humans. So relax your tailbone to send a body signal to your mind to enjoy more ease. And then back up. Now one-legged sumo. Left foot in, right foot out. Now a little different in keeping your torso upright. Bend and straighten to help mobilize the hip socket. Bend and straighten. Now there's going to be a little core strength that goes on too. Maybe you've already felt it as you bend your knee. There's a tendency for that same side hip to drop. So see if you can keep your pelvis horizontal. Bend, straighten. One more. And back to the front. Second side. Exhale, bend. Inhale, straighten. Now you may find that the two sides of your body are the same or similar, or you may find that they're really quite different. Maybe the experience on one side is very different than the experience on the other side. So please don't get too tight about any differences you may feel. It can be, sometimes people get kind of stressed out about that. Simply aware of whatever sensations you may feel, just as they are, right here, right now. And back up, and then back to the front. Let's go back to the first side. Left foot in, right foot out. So keeping your torso vertical, keeping your pelvis horizontal. Exhale, bend. Now with the next exhale, take your pelvis and tip it a bit. Hand to knee, hand to hip. Now the hand that's on your knee, bring that shoulder blade onto your back. Feel how that opens up your chest area? Keeping your chest open, take your left arm forward and through. And take a little peek up at your ceiling. And inhale up, back to the front. Second side. Right foot in, left foot out. Torso vertical, pelvis horizontal. Exhale, maintain the horizontal, bend your left knee. Pause here for the in-breath. Exhale, tip your hips, hand to knee, hand to hip. The hand that's on your knee, that same side shoulder blade against your back. And right arm forward and through. Little peek up at your ceiling. And then inhale up, back to the front. First side again, left foot in, right foot out. Pelvis horizontal, exhale, bend. Tip your pelvis with the exhale, a little deeper, elbow to knee. Elbow to knee, that same side shoulder blade against your back. Upper arm up. Then toward the floor, turn your head and neck. Come on up, back to the front. Second side. Pelvis horizontal, bend. Tip your hips. The elbow that's on your knee. That same side shoulder blade against your back. Then the upper arm up toward the floor. Turn your nose to the floor. Then come on up, back to the front. Step your feet together. So psoas walk, we're going to do a psoas walk in the high lunge in units of 3. So begin by bringing your hands to your hips. What in the heck does that mean, units of 3? Take your left foot, step it a little bit back. Then left heel, inhale, lift, come forward. Exhale, descend, go back. 2 more like that. Inhale, forward. Exhale, back. Forward, back. Now, next time your heel's lifted, let's pause there. Keep your pelvis lifted as you reach your left heel back and down. Now, open the front of your left hip. Once you feel that heel's down on the floor, recharge the lift to your pelvic crest. Then sweep your arms forward, upward. 3 breaths. And then back to standing. Units of 3, 3 repetitions, then 3 breaths. Take your right foot back. Inhale forward, first of 3. Exhale back. Inhale forward, second of 3. Exhale back. Forward, back, forward, hold. Now to help open the front of your right hip, heel back and down. Recharge the lift in the front of your pelvis. Arms forward and upward. You guessed it. 3 breaths. And back to standing. 3 by 3. So high lunge. That's where the left foot steps a little farther back. This time heel stays lifted. Back knee more or less straight. Exhale, bend your front knee. Inhale, straighten it. Next time, front knee in the bent position, pause there. Arms forward and upward. And back to standing. Second side. 3, bend and straightens. As you bend and straighten, keep the back knee more or less straight. Doesn't have to be perfectly straight. Next time the front knee bent, let's pause there. And back to standing. Step your feet wide apart. Turn your left foot in. Right foot out, left foot a little bit more in. And back knee more or less straight, front knee more or less straight. Fold from your hips. End up looking straight down at the floor. See if you can keep your spine straight. And if you want a little bit more challenge, you could take your arms and reach them back behind you. Couple breaths here. Inhale up, back to the front. Second side, right foot in, left foot out, right foot a little bit more in. I'm coming to call this the triangle pose. So facing toward your side wall, back knee straight, front knee straight. Fold from your hips. Maybe your torso doesn't quite make it to the horizontal, not a problem. Fold until you feel some tug in your hips and legs. Then hands could either stay on the hips, or if you'd like more challenge, you can reach your arms back. And then inhale up, back to the front. Step your feet wide apart. I'm starting to call this the giraffe. Legs more or less straight. Fold from your hips. And then let your spine round. Let the crown of your head hang to the floor. Hands maybe come to the floor or your shins. And breathe. Yep. Roll your spine up. You had some practice in rolling up. Here's another application. And then step your feet together. So now let's stimulate the inner ear, the vestibular sense. This is really good for your balance when you use partial sun salutations. Begin with the inhale, inhale into your back. Exhale, arms to the side up. Let your chin float up. Then inhale, roll your spine down. And whether hands come to shins or floor doesn't so much matter. Then exhale, extend the crown of your head forward. Remember the swan? Very similar to swan. And inhale, fold. Then as you exhale, roll your spine up, arms to the side up, chin up. Inhale, back to standing. This time, same thing, a little bit faster. Exhale, arms to the side up. Inhale, roll down. Exhale, gorilla. Inhale, fold. Exhale, roll up. Inhale, back to standing. Same thing together quietly. Now to the floor. Exhale, arms up, which probably doesn't seem like heading to the floor. Inhale, fold. Now we're heading the right direction, aren't we? Exhale, gorilla. A bit of a side trip. Then inhale, step your feet back to yoga pose, head down. We'll take a few breaths here. And then come on down to your knees. and take a seat. So in seated, cross your legs. Sit up tall. Best you can. Sit up tall in a cross leg position. Bring your left arm across, right hand behind. Wring out your spine and breathe. Back in toward the middle. Second side. As you wring out your spine, don't forget to turn your head. Now, my head movement this direction is a little restricted. Result of some old injuries. Back in toward the middle. Now, when you cross legs, one leg is in front, isn't it? Now take the other leg in front. Best you can, sit up tall, even if it's harder on the second side. Left hand crosses over, right hand behind. Now I have a little more mobility in my neck this direction, so I've turned my chest. I'm going to turn my head to comfortable capacity. Back in toward the middle. Comfortable capacity is the key. So touch the resistance, but don't like clobber into it or bang into it. Turn, turn, turn. Touch the resistance, breathe. Back in toward the middle. And then onto your back. Shoulder bridge is just so good. Touch on it again. Lightly draw your shoulder blades under to help open up your chest. And then from your shoulder sockets, from the ball and socket joints, rotate your arms internally to place your palms on the floor, arms near your torso. Inhale, exhale, roll your spine up. Inhale, exhale, roll your spine down. So some beautiful cueing from the birthday girl, wasn't it? Let's do one more up and down. She does beautiful cueing whether or not it's her birthday or any of the other days of the year. All right. Then from your back to your belly, I'm going to do some of the back bends on the belly. So let's begin with crocodile. Hand on top of hand, forehead on your hands. 3 deep breaths. And then hands next to your armpits. Set your shoulder blades. Lengthen your spine. And then maintain that set of your shoulder blades. Maintain that length in your spine as you reach your arms back. Just like we did in triangle a bit earlier. And now with the next exhale, lift up into locust. That's where head comes up, feet comes up, chest comes up, knees lift up. And back down to your belly. And then now slide your hands forward, a little wider than your shoulders. Elbows a little bit lifted off the floor. Elbows a little bit bent. And then press your hands down to the floor to lift your head, to lift your chest. And then use your hands, arms, and shoulders to pull your torso forward, to decompress your lower back. And then come on down. Push up the hands and knees. And then have a seat. Could be flat on the floor. Could be on a chair. Could be that cushion that's almost out of reach. And now we're going to do some deep breathing. So much like you were going to blow up a balloon, the balloon doesn't inflate itself. The balloon is inflated by the air going into the balloon. So the balloon here is your rib cage. So imagine, if you will, this whole circumference of your rib cage. Chest in the front, side ribs, the vicinity of your armpits, and then the back ribs beneath your shoulder blades and between your shoulder blades. Now inflate your whole rib cage. We're going to take a really deep, slow breath. Exhale. Empty your lungs. Fill them all the way. How much air can your lungs hold? Empty. And one more huge, ginormous, full capacity inhale. Now let go of the deep breathing. That's been quite a bit of time of doing stuff. So as you sit upright, relax your body and your mind. All right. I think that's our time for the day. So really nice to be here with you all. Before we split for the weekend, any comments, any questions out there? All right. Well, thanks so much for joining us. We love doing this with you all on Saturday mornings. Please tell your friends and your family and coworkers and neighbors and strangers on the street, anybody else you may know, that we do this class each week. And really great to see you all. Fun to see some names on the roster today we haven't seen for a while. Have a great rest of the day, rest of the weekend, and see you next week.